Hi, welcome to Mastering Mom Fitness. Today, I want to reduce your fears around abdominal separation and exercise by empowering you with the information about diastasis recti and exercise during pregnancy. My name is Ashley Reid, and I'm here to help you navigate exercise as you move through motherhood. You will have unique needs and barriers when it comes to fitness, and I'm going to help you navigate them. Let's get started by understanding diastasis recti during pregnancy, which, by the way, you might hear it said different ways. This condition is not to be feared. In fact, it's completely normal. You have a line of connective tissue that runs down the middle of your abs vertically. This tissue connects the rectus abdominis, which are your six-pack abs. And during pregnancy, this tissue widens and thins as you make room for your growing baby. So to be clear, it's the connective tissue that stretches, which increases the distance between your right and left side of your superficial abs. To make this make sense, your diaphragm is moving up to make room for the baby, your hips are widening to make room for the baby, and your skin is stretching and your linea alba is changing as well. Studies vary in terms of who is measuring and how, but pretty consistently by the end of the third trimester, it can be said that the majority of moms-to-be would be considered to have diastasis recti. However, the name shouldn't be scary. Diastasis literally just refers to separation, and recti or recti is referring to the abs, the name of the ab muscle. So how does this impact exercise during pregnancy? Well, first, I'm going to give you one more piece of information to help you understand. I want you to understand the term intra-abdominal pressure. That is the pressure that is created in your abdominal cavity. The pressure increases when you inhale and decreases when you exhale. However, forceful exhales like coughs can create pressure, and physical activity, especially when you need to stabilize the spine, also changes the abdominal pressure. So let's move on, but just keep that in mind that the pressure in your abdomen changes with breathing, certain positions, physical activity, and a well-functioning core is able to manage that pressure. Now to physical activity and exercise. The stretching of the linea alba means the core isn't functioning the same way it used to before pregnancy. That part of your abdominal wall is weaker. So if the same amount of pressure is being created in your abdominal wall, but that tissue no longer can support it, then the rest of the core is going to be impacted. This might mean more pressure on your pelvic floor, or your back muscles having to work harder. And it might mean you can visually see the weakness in the linea alba, which is often referred to as coning or doming. There needs to be more research done. So the next part is kind of based on the research that exists. So I have infer from research and practice working with moms-to-be. So my belief is that the coning and doming in itself isn't inherently bad or dangerous, especially if it occurs when the belly has already grown quite a bit. My clients have noticed maybe when they're getting out of the bathtub or leaning back, or maybe even in a forward leaning position, that they see a little bit of it. And to me, this just indicates that the abdominal pressure is now being managed differently than it was before pregnancy. So there is a weakness in the core system, and that's where we need to make a personalized decision about what activities and exercises are right for you. Generally, my advice is that if there's another exercise that achieves the same goal, but requires less pressure into the abdominal wall, then let's do that instead. For example, a Pallof press instead of a dead bug. I usually recommend that any movement against gravity, like push-ups, planks, be assessed whether you can hold a deep abdominal contraction without holding your breath, or without seeing a huge visual difference. So for some, this proves to be too much just even in the first trimester, which highlights the need for personalization, no trimester lists with exercises. I would also shorten the amount of rep time and holds, and just increase the number of sets so that there isn't continuous pressure in the abdominal area. Same for running. For running, that might be a high pressure activity for somebody who hasn't been running their whole life. But if you have, you might be able to manage that pressure rather well, and running might be okay for you unless there's pelvic floor symptoms. Same with if you're lifting heavy weights, and if you need to hold your breath to stabilize, that weight is probably too heavy. But if you can manage the stability, manage the breath fairly easily, and it's just kind of similar to how it was pre-pregnancy, then you might be able to keep lifting that same weight during pregnancy. So to summarize, abdominal separation during pregnancy is normal. It isn't something to be feared, But you should also be mindful of what activities you're doing and whether you're feeling increased pressure in the abdomen or the pelvic floor, or whether you're seeing the doming, or if you can still maintain contraction in your deep abdominal muscles without holding your breath. Again, more research needs to be done. I hope that it is, but the approach that I've taken with my clients is just to keep in mind that the ability to prevent diastasis recti hasn't been proven, but anecdotally, I believe that you can learn to manage it by understanding the concepts of linea alba stretching and abdominal pressure with exercise. So don't let fear stop you from being active. It's totally possible and worth it to have a strong and functional core through all 40 weeks of your pregnancy.